Greetings from the Garden of Eden. It's another beautiful day here in my wild-crafted, sustainable paradise. And this is going to be another episode of my daily harvest. And right now I am walking through my lamb's quarter forest, which is the feature of my daily harvest episode for this day. The reason why I'm choosing to feature lamb's quarter is because it is extremely easy to cultivate crop. It's extremely nutritious, very low maintenance, and it's super nutritious. This is another superfood. I featured moringa just the other day. If you didn't see that video, definitely check it out. It's one of the most, if not the most, nutritionally dense food on the entire earth. Lamb's quarter is not quite up to par, but it's a lot easier to grow. It's still super nutritious, and it actually grows natively throughout many parts of the United States. So lamb's quarter, it doesn't really have too much of a taste. It's actually way less bitter than moringa is going to be, which is kind of nice. It's got kind of like a soft, rich, almost buttery flavor without too much bitterness to it. Some of these leaves here have got little, bug holes and stuff in them, little spots, but that's actually a good sign of a super organic environment. I'll post some close-up pictures of the leaves and stuff like that in the post here. But I wanted to feature this because, as you can see here, I've just got all these bushes, like literally hundreds of these bushes, which grow naturally or which grow natively in this environment, and all I've done is cultivate them by one, not cutting them down or weeding them or anything like that, but also two, by spreading the seeds. And they produce a mass amount of seeds. The ones here in the shade that I'm walking by, all these bushes here, they haven't started seeding yet. But the ones that are in the sun, they have already started seeding, and they produce lots of seeds. And we just collect bags of these seeds, and if we want, we can just sort of sprinkle them in any parts of the yard or the garden where we want them to grow. But they also, sort of cultivate themselves pretty well, at least in the general area. The seeds are also edible. They don't taste quite as good, they're drier, a little less flavor, but they are edible, and they're also super nutritious. Now, these lamb's quarters, like I said, they grow natively all over the United States, so it's not just a great crop to cultivate and grow and harvest for yourself because it's so low maintenance and because it's so nutritious, but it's also a really fantastic crop to know as far as wild harvesting goes. It's one of the best wild plants, if you live in North America, that you could know, because it is so prevalently available, it's so abundantly available, and it grows all over the place. So that means that if you ever had to, or if you just wanted to, doing wild crafted salads, there's a really fantastic account here on Steemit known by Haphazard Homestead, I believe. And he does all sorts of wild, crafted salad, wild harvested salads. Even when he's out on business trips, he'll be staying at a hotel, and then he'll just go out to like sort of a field behind the hotel, and he'll find wild, edible plants, and he'll make himself a salad out of those plants. And so not only is it way more nutritious, but it's way more sustainable, and you save money to do things like that. So I would love to see, people begin to learn more about these, wild plants that exist all over. Every country in the world, has wild plants that you can go and harvest, unless you're like in Antarctica or something like that, which, no one's really going to be there anyways. Number one, because it's so cold. Number two, because it's, one of the most restricted zones on Earth for all sorts of reasons, which we won't get into now. But my point being is that there's wild crops all over the place that you can eat, and they are way more nutritious than the common foods that you're going to be eating at a restaurant or buying at a store. They're way cheaper, and they're also way more sustainable because there's no packaging, there's no shipping, there's no processing, there's no taxation. And that's, another really huge issue for me is, even on Steemit here, we've got all these you know, anarchists and people that talk about, you know, government this and government that and taxation this, taxation that. But, you know, every single time you go and buy something at a store, every single time you go and eat at a restaurant, every single time you know, fill up your gas pump, every single time you basically, you know, use currency out in the world, you are literally funding. You're literally funding the government. You're literally funding the global industrial military complex. And so every single time you can go out and grow your own food or harvest your own food, you are actually starving that operation. You're actually starving that out. And that's the best way to do it, because it requires no violence, it requires no protesting, it requires no activism. All it requires is just living, you know, a sustainable and honorable life. So this lamb's quarter, like I said, it's a fantastic plant. It grows all over the country. It's easily identifiable. It tastes quite good. It's super nutritious. It grows really well. It, you know, very little maintenance. It doesn't have disease problems or pest problems. It requires very little amounts of water. It can grow even here in the heat of the summer in Texas, and it grows, you know, all throughout the United States. So I will, in this post, you know, list some of the nutrition, you know, facts. I'll list some, you know, more close-up photos, and you know, a little bit more written information about this. Again, I just wanted to take some time and share with you my passion for sustainability and health and wild-crafted realities. I hope you enjoy. I hope this was of value to you. Steam on.